Hey there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel. Here I share stories, strategies, and solutions to help you bounce back, stress less, and ultimately feel better. And today we're going to talk about when and why I choose to use ballpoint pens. Specifically, my favorite ballpoint pen is the Bic Velocity. Well, it used to be called Velocity. Now they call it Glide. And I think before it was called Velocity, it was called Atlantis. But, oh, in fact, there it is, Atlantis. So there's been kind of a transformation or a evolution, I guess, of these pens. I started loving them when they were called Atlantis. Then they were called Velocity, and now they're called Glide. So first of all, let's talk about the pens I used previously. I used to love me a Bic 4-color pen. The things that were great about this is it was a bigger barrel, so even though it's not the most comfortable, the bigger barrel, it doesn't have a comfort grip or anything. It was easier for me to hold. But what I did like about it was the 4 colors just at my fingertip: red, black, blue, and green. And I'm going to be honest, these were the bee's knees when I was in elementary school, and only the cool kids had them, and I never did. So when I got older, I bought a crap ton of these just because, oh, nostalgic. And I did love the 4 colors. But truth be told, I did not enjoy the ink laydown. It felt a little bit like I was scratching the paper, and I wanted more of a glide on the paper. And even though it says it's a medium point, it does not write thick enough for me. I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is a Bic 4-color medium. And I apologize, my hands hurt today, so this is not great. I'm actually working pretty hard to get that down. I'm not enjoying the writing process of that at all. So after that, I found the Pentel GlideWrite. And not going to lie, this is not, I haven't even used this pen. This is not a bad pen. I love the weight. It's got a nice counterbalance. It's a little heavier over here on the top, so I like how that feels. And I love the rubberized grip here, and it's just wide enough that it's easy for me to hold. So this is the Pentel GlideWrite. And I can tell right off the bat, this ink is higher quality than the Bic pen. So I used this for probably a year or so. I have a couple of these pens, and they're pretty inexpensive as well. I'm not sure if they still sell them or not. If they do, I will leave a link to it below. But I left the GlideWrite and went to a Bic Atlantis or Velocity. Again, now it's called Bic Glide. And what do I like about this? I like the fact that it comes in a thicker width. It is absolutely a bold point. It is 1.6 millimeter, and the ink quality is phenomenal. Specifically, Bic markets this pen as, quote, the smoothest pen in the universe. So let's give it a go. This is the Bic, oh, I barely have to touch this paper. Bic Velocity / now Glide, and it is a 1.6 millimeter bold. Now, this is my favorite pen, and I go through, my husband jokes because I'm the only person he ever knows that goes through probably 2 pens a week. No joke. I'm a writer. That's what I do. So I write a lot, and I prefer analog. I am absolutely an analog advocate. I cannot be creative at a computer screen. I write everything down by hand on pen and paper, and then I go work at the computer. So I go through the pens, and I can buy 36 of these for about $17, which $17 for pens might sound like a lot, but that makes the pens about 50 cents each. So to me, that is worth it, especially considering how wonderful these pens are to hold. It's got a great rubberized grip. It's got a nice weight. The ink just glides. I would venture to say it is the smoothest pen in the universe. I used to be a loyal fan of what was it, Papermate Inkjoy. But I found, and I specifically like their profile bold pens. They came in a 1.6 millimeter point size, but they no longer put the Inkjoy ink in there. And if they do, the Inkjoy ink has just really gone downhill. So I prefer, like I said, the Bic Velocity or the Bic Glide. And I generally when would I use a ballpoint pen? When I'm on the go. I don't keep gel pens in my purse. I only keep the ballpoint pens in my purse. Generally speaking, I like to use it in my agenda or my planner or my to-do lists, unless my hands are hurting, which I would switch to a gel pen. But I like the fact that if, condensation from my tea hits my paper, the ink isn't going to go anywhere. It's water fast. And lastly, when would I use a ballpoint pen? And this is a little bit of a confessional here. When I'm feeling frustrated, angry, or stressed. And why? Because a ballpoint pen is going to require more force to actually write on the paper than would a gel pen. Now, why would I choose that when I'm frustrated, angry, or stressed? Because the actual process of writing and pushing down on the paper helps release some of that stress. It's like if you watched Harry Potter and Dumbledore used the pensieve to pull thoughts or memories out of his head so he wouldn't forget them. Well, I kind of feel like writing with a ballpoint pen or journaling with a ballpoint pen when I'm frustrated helps pull that negative energy out of me. It helps, emotions, especially challenging ones, create energy. And you have to do something with that energy. It has to go somewhere. Feelings just want to be felt. So writing with a ballpoint pen and pushing down into that paper, well, it helps me do something with that energy. It helps me release it. It helps me get rid of it. And I just love how it feels to write with a ballpoint pen, specifically the Bic Glide or Bic Velocity. So the downsides to the ballpoint pen is that you don't get many colors. That said, I have found, and I'm going to assume that they sell them in the Glide too. I bought this back when it was still being marketed as Atlantis. I know they have it in green. I don't use green ink very much, but I do use red ink and black ink sometimes, bold point especially, or excuse me, blue ink especially. So I found this set of 3, and so what I do is I actually take the ink cartridges out of here, and again, I don't throw them away, I recycle them. I fill them with a different ink cartridge and give them to my hubby. But these pens out of the package are so thin and slender, they are difficult for me to hold. I have psoriatic arthritis, so grip can be a struggle for me. But no harm, no foul, because Bic also offers an ultra comfort pen, an ultra comfortable grip and smooth writing. Now you'll notice here that it's been branded as Bic Glide, and I don't see anything here. But previously, I purchased the same pen as Bic Atlantis, Ultra Comfort, they called it. Now, they're the exact same pen. And they offer this Ultra Comfort pen in 3 different colors. A gray, which you see here in the package, a pink, and a blue. This is my favorite color. It's not really coming up teal on screen or sea glass, but I would say it's an aqua. It's coming across light blue on screen, but it's more of an aqua color. So you can order these on Amazon, and I'll leave a link for it below. But if you do buy it on Amazon, you don't get to pick your color, which is kind of a bummer. So I suggest going to your local office supply store, going to Target, going to Walmart. Walmart might be the cheapest. And just picking out whichever color suits your fancy. I'm going to tell you why I have all 3 colors here in a second. But what is great about the Ultra Comfort is it's still the Bic Glide ink inside, but it's this grip. It is a soft, squishy silicone grip, and it is just a joy to use. Absolutely, hands down, my favorite. I would say that the cutouts, the mold on the regular Bic Velocity or Bic Glide pens is actually great, but if I'm in a lot of pain, I'd go for this pen. The downside to this silicone grip is they get dirty. They collect cat hair, they collect lint, so that is a bummer. They're not sticky, but they just hang on to everything. So I find that I do have to run them under the tap every once in a while, and then I just dry them with a lint-free cloth. But small price to pay, because I love how they look, I love how they write, and I love how they feel. Now, the 3 different colors, you don't have to be all extra like I am. And maybe this isn't extra at all. It is very utilitarian because, again, getting back to this package. So first of all, I went and bought all 3 colors of the Ultra Comfort. And then I opened them up, took the ink cartridge out. They came with black ink. Again, I hate black ink. I always write in blue. But if I want the different colors, I would put the red ink in the pink. I'd put the blue ink in the blue. And I'd put the black ink in this gray black pen. So at a glance, I know, okay, blue, red, black. And so when I'm color coding my notes for writing, not necessarily my agenda, but I do for my writing on various books that I'm working on or writing for the organization I work for, I do like to color code my thoughts, references, footnotes, things like that. So I know at a glance, I have the great ink that's in these pens, but I take them out of the crappy barrels and put them into the much more user-friendly barrel. So there's only one con, and I'm gonna wrap up the video with this. There's only one con specifically to this ballpoint pen that I use, the Bic Atlantis, Bic Glide, and Bic Velocity, is if you store the pen bottom down, top up, the tip down, the writing tip down, it does get kind of a glob of ink and can get messy. So in my purse and at my desk in the mug, I always store them bottom up, the tip of the pen storing up. And that just prevents ink from getting all globbed up at the top or making a mess. So small price to pay. If you can train yourself to do that, you will spare yourself some heartache and some mess in the future. So that is when and why I use ballpoint pens, and specifically my favorites. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've learned maybe some different ways to use ballpoint pens, or Frankenstein them yourself, or maybe you've never tried the Bic Glide or Bic Velocity and now you're interested to do so. In any way, any reason, I'm just glad you've watched to the end here. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next video. Until next time, bye-bye.